Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Crypto Insider channel. I am the Crypto Insider, back with another cryptocurrency video for you today on this April 14th, 2020. Hope everyone had a happy holiday, the Easter holiday, even though you probably couldn't do much. If you're here in the U.S., you're likely locked down due to the coronavirus, as is most of the world, I believe. So, yeah, it's still more of this, and I'm guessing we have a few more weeks of it. Changing the format of the videos up a little bit. Somebody suggested to put the donation stuff at the end, so we're going to do that today. And maybe people want to see the prices or the stories come sooner in the video. But, really, this isn't a news type of broadcast or channel. This is more of a, podcast sort of thing where I just sort of ruminate on the various stories and examine some of the cryptocurrency price action. But I hope you like it, and I hope you've been enjoying the channel so far. It's something I do in the mornings. It's kind of a hobby of mine, and although I'm not a financial advisor or a certified financial planner or anything like that, I do work in the FinTech industry with a lot of big players, a lot of Ripple partners. I don't work in that cross-border payment space, so I often don't get to see their interoperability with any of the Ripple networks or anything like that. But it is interesting to see the different trends and the different approaches that some of the banks take, and it's things that interest me are to see how soon, it's kind of like a domino effect working with these big banks. Once one does something, then they all want it. It's an interesting market. It's an interesting space. Now, some have, different mission statements. Some like loans more than deposits, that sort of thing. But overall, generally, all these Ripple partners and all these financial institutions and money lenders are talking to each other. They go to a lot of the same events. They show up at some of the events that we host, and a lot of times, we'll do things like we'll put a new feature out there that some bank requested and paid for. They wanted their customers to have the ability to do X, Y, or Z. And, within a week of it being launched, we start getting requests. Oh, this other one wants it too now. So sometimes even before it's launched, they'll say, oh, we heard you're working on this for that bank. We would like it too. So it's interesting to see how word gets around and how the different banks handle things. Let's see. So let's jump right into the prices since we're going to skip the donations. We're not skipping. We're just putting them at the end. If you're wondering what the donations are, we'll talk about that at the end of the video. So Live Coin Watch, let me just give it a quick little refresh here. Live Coin Watch is reporting Bitcoin dominant 64.74%. That is pretty much holding. There's been a little bit of... but if you look, even at the height here, we're only 2% away. But it's a number that I like to keep my eye on. For people new to the channel, if you're expecting an alt season to kick off, in my opinion, you're going to have to see this number drop down a bit, probably around 50%, to drop to around 50% or lower. Market cap sitting at 195. It's adding on slowly but surely. Not quite where we were here at this 210 with the last sort of pump, but not down too much. And it's I want to see where we go from here, if it sort of springs up, with the halvening, or if it kind of holds steady there. Bitcoin up 2.6% in the last hour. Pretty much all the top 10s are up. Some of our favorites here: Tezos up 2.66% from yesterday, Link up 0.37%. Link, again, we covered yesterday, Link adding 50% in the last month, I think, or the last week. I can't remember. I can't remember one story from one day to the next. We end up doing so many. Stellar also showing a gain, up 2.35%. I have a little bit of Stellar. Um, I don't know if Stellar was one of the ones that Coinbase was giving away. You know how you would complete those little classes or whatever, those little videos, and they would give you some of the crypto that they were talking about. I think I did that for Stellar, but I can't be sure. Let's see what else we got going on. HBAR, we're going to mention very briefly in the story today. I'm not going to cover the whole story because it's kind of boring, but we are up 2.7% from yesterday, but still not where we were at the all-time high. The whole market's pulled back due to the coronavirus and the fear that subsequently hit panic that hit everyone. We we're the cryptocurrency market is subject to that too. You would think that crypto would be seen as a haven and a lot of people would run to it. But I think a lot of people, at least in the US, that speculate on crypto, that buy it on their Coinbase app or whatever, it's kind of an extra expense to them. It's something that they do if they get a little bit of extra money. And that type of spending is something that's going to get cut right away in any sort of global crisis. It's like the karate lessons. That's people are not buying crypto. They've cut out the karate lessons. They're probably sort of hunkering down and holding based on the financial uncertainty. Um, let's go to coinalyze.net and look a little more in depth at the moving averages for XRP. It's one of our favorite cryptos here at the channel. Everything's pretty much green. I expect that if that continues for much longer, we're going to see some overboughts popping up down here in the oscillators. Right now, Coinalyze listing XRP at 0.188 cents. I'm sorry, $0.188, which is 18.8 cents. So we're around that 19-cent mark. No big action to talk of, no great swings either way. So we're just kind of holding steady for now. Some of the stories today are kind of odd. I wanted to talk about this: Donald Trump and the Fed have ended the free market. Now, I know it's not really crypto, but it's by an author that generally writes crypto-like stories. And the headline, I don't know if this is just to hurry up and get views, but it seems kind of alarmist for some reasons, and it's not really true in other regards. So let's get into it. The U.S. Federal Reserve, under close scrutiny from President Donald Trump, has made the historic move to pump a staggering $6 trillion of liquidity into the economy since the coronavirus pandemic began. The Fed's extraordinary actions have been mirrored and even exceeded by other central banks around the world as countries seek to offset the economic damage wrought by widespread coronavirus lockdowns. Now, as stocks and currency markets seek direction, Deutsche Bank has warned this is the end of the free market, branding it a zombie market. They say there is no such thing as a free market anymore, said Deutsche Bank global head of foreign exchange research George Saravelos wrote in a special report titled "The End of the Free Market: Impact on Currencies and Beyond." And I have not read George Saravelos' book, but he's putting a lot there's a lot in that one little statement. There is no such thing as a free market anymore. Well, depending on who you talk to with their economics degree, I'm guessing a lot of them are going to tell you there has not been a free market since the early part of the 20th century, since 1910. A lot of people blame capitalism for a lot of the world's ills, but there really has not been true capitalism for a long, long time here in the US anyway. Maybe there are some other economies that have it, but we've been propping up industries, we've had government interference. Look at any major market that's just totally screwed, and you'll see the government intervention and interference in it. Healthcare springs to mind right away, insurance markets, uh, even banking. Now they're doing things where they're cutting the reserve requirements for deposit accounts and that sort of thing, and that's nice. That's going to free up a little bit of capital for banks. Uh, but if your bank was so badly run that you need that, you have to rely on that to happen to stay afloat, then you're in a bad position because now that there's no reserve requirements, your depositors only have the FDIC insurance, and all it's going to take is one more thing, one more straw to break the camel's back, and you're going to go under. If there's no sort of bailout, and there's not always a bailout. These people think we're always bailing out banks, and no, that doesn't always happen. Ask Lehman Brothers. In a matter of weeks, policymakers have become a backstop for private sector markets. At the extreme, central banks could become permanent command economy agents administering equity and credit prices, aggressively subduing financial shocks. The Fed's rapid interest rate cut to zero and its gigantic raft of credit and lending programs easily eclipse the emergency action taken during the 2008 financial crisis. You know, it could be that this is an election year, and so we're pulling all these levers in order to sort of keep the status quo and not have a coup at the ballot box. Because, when there's a pandemic and the economy collapses, people are going to vote against incumbent power. And I'm not specifically talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about the whole lot of them. And, so they want to avoid any sort of panics or shocks in an election year. So it's going to be really interesting to see some of the things that happen when it comes to U.S. politics. People are going to be adopting new positions that maybe didn't have it before, and people are going to be shying away from some of the positions that they've held, probably in order to. There's going to be some flip flopping in order for people to stay relevant and to stay in the political game. What we're witnessing here is nothing less than the death of capitalism and the birth of something new, said Maddie Greenspan. Maddie, I don't know that you could really call this the death of capitalism. I think capitalism's going to change. We have a lot of. Wait, there's no doubt stock markets and currency markets are being hugely manipulated by central bankers. Yeah, and they have been for a long time. Uh, and that's Glenn Goodman, who successfully navigated the stock market during the 2008 global financial market. But we prop up a lot of things. You got to understand, when I say the government interferes in the market, both banking and insurance and stuff, that's because it's really the only way for them to maintain control. They don't really produce products. And sometimes I wish they would, if the Postal Service came out with a monthly subscription fee that would allow you to block senders and remove all the junk mail from your daily deliveries here in the U.S., I would be subscribing to that, if they offered a product like that at a reasonable rate. But really, um, for the most part, the government doesn't produce uh, goods, and I mean, there are some services probably that you have to pay for, but for the most part, they're not the ones that make or break the economy. And so if they want money, they've got to get it through ways like taxation, fees, licensing fees, fines are a big source, and that's really what they do. And you can argue the less government, you start running into other problems, environmental and otherwise, and that's more of a political discussion. But the consensus or conclusion is I don't think that Donald Trump has ended the free market yet, such as it was. Whatever was left from what we did after forming the Federal Reserve, I wouldn't say that Donald Trump has ended it. We're taking some stopgap measures in a time of crisis. We're not really going to know if the market's ended or not until we get out of this one way or the other. This article comes from MSN.com, and it is by, wow, look at that name, Kwek Sir Kwangshi. Yeah, I'm not even, well, I guess I did try it, but I'm not even gonna make any claims to have gotten that name right or not, because wow. Um, And I wanted to talk about this briefly. We don't have to go through all of it. DeFi, a blockchain-enabled ecosystem that, among others, allows users to borrow, lend, trade, and make transactions in digital currencies without the need to go through regulatory authorities, has continued to grow despite the current downtrend in the cryptocurrency market. And then they go to say that the DeFi market has grown to 1.2 billion. So, looking at market cap, we're at about 1% of market cap in crypto is involved with DeFi. TVL is a term commonly used by the cryptocurrency community to refer to the total value of cryptocurrencies locked up in smart contracts as collateral for DeFi services that are to be provided. For instance, a secured loan product requires a borrower to deposit a certain amount of, say, Ether in a smart contract as collateral in order to borrow stable coins such as Tether or the US dollar. Uh, is that what that stands for? US dollar coin? Maybe. The stable coins can then be converted into cash at a cryptocurrency exchange. The TVL has seen a growth of 15 times in the past 2 years, and it's going to get bigger. There are a lot more people entering that DeFi space. A website that provides analytics and rankings of DeFi applications, DeFi Pulse, said that the suppressed price movements of the crypto market do not seem to be slowing the DeFi movement. So even though prices are lower, more people are doing the DeFi thing. So, and I don't want to go through each of these paragraphs for you here, but I wanted to sort of ask anybody listening to the channel if they're involved in DeFi, or if you've borrowed or lended, and how that worked out for you. Did you make a better return? Did you pay a lower interest rate? If you have comments on that, please go ahead and put those in the comment section, because I'm very interested in it. And I also wanted to say that there is a book that offers a comprehensive guide to various DeFi apps, mainly for beginners who are interested in learning more about the fast-growing ecosystem. The ebook can be downloaded for free via CoinGecko's website until April 30. After that, it'll be available for purchase at $14.99 on its website and on Amazon. So, if you're interested in decentralized finance with cryptocurrency, you may want to go to CoinGecko's website. You have another 2 weeks to go and grab their ebook for free. After that, you're going to have to pay for it. So I think I'm going to do that after this video. I'll grab it and maybe skim through it. I don't know how much of my crypto I'd like to stake on DeFi, because I believe there's probably still a chance to lose money, or for there to be some sort of skullduggery with it. I don't understand it enough. If I don't understand something enough, I don't like to just put money into it to see what happens. This next one is Blockchain from Crowdfund Insider by Omar Faridi. I may have gotten that one right. Blockchain interoperability, and this is the big thing that everybody wants. World Economic Forum releases paper explaining the importance of effective communication between DLT networks. And so the World Economic Forum has released a paper describing the desire for more interoperability. They recently noted that the present level of interoperability is far too low for developing robust enterprise-grade applications. So, the WEF states that the majority of existing interoperability solutions tend to focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are the world's largest. There's not much meaningful interoperability development work going on otherwise, the paper reveals. And then it has a quote. In public blockchains, interoperability has been in development for many years. For instance, cross-chain, sidechains, proxy tokens. However, a bigger challenge and at the same time a much bigger opportunity exists given interoperability among enterprise-grade permission blockchains. Wow, is that a boring paragraph or quote or what? The point of all this is that obviously interoperability between these networks is something that is desirable, and I think you're going to see more support or more desire for things like Chainlink, and they've specifically called out Hedera Hashgraph, called the Hedera Consensus Service. The token for that network is HBAR, which is one of our positions here at the Crypto Insider channel. We like Hedera Hashgraph, we like its governance council, and we think, once listed on a lot of the major exchanges, that it could be returning some gains. But to have them specifically called out by the World Economic Forum is also another good thing. And I don't know how many people are reading this article other than me to you, but it's just another feather in HBAR's cap, I think. And so if you have extra money and you're looking at cryptocurrencies to buy, and as you're doing your due diligence, as you're researching the charts or whatever it is that spurs you to buy or not buy, if you're looking for a new coin, check out HBAR, do your due diligence and see if it's something that's right for you. As promised, we put our donation tweet at the end. We did send 4 XRP to AtGoodXRP. They broke it down, sent it off to these charities. The reason that we do that is every time we get a new subscriber, we send a little bit of XRP off to them. They break it down, send it off to those different charities, and we get new subscribers. It helps them get their mission accomplished. And if you're one of those new subscribers, you get notified when we put out a video. Do you know what that means? That is the elusive unicorn of win-win-win situations that you want to find yourself in as much as possible. So go ahead and like and subscribe if you like the comment. Remember, if you're into DeFi, put a comment down there that my music's playing. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to pop up some additional videos for you to check out and continue your Crypto Insider journey until tomorrow.